Alright, y'all, so there was no video yesterday, no excuse. I mean, I was kind of busy, but like, it's no excuse. I really could have got one out if I wanted to, but I took an exam. I drove 2 hours home, I took an exam, and then after that exam, I'm not even going to hold y'all. I did not feel like doing nothing else for the rest of the day. Um, so yeah, I was being a lazy bum, and I did not make a video yesterday, but I come to you today, and we're going to continue the series about which, the teams, and I'm going to do all 30 teams, so we're going to continue the series about, hey, what are these teams' best realistic expectations for this upcoming season, and we're moving on to now, we're going back to the West. I think I am going to do it where it's East-West, where we're going West, East, West, East, stuff like that, and we're going to a team now in the Denver Nuggets. Now, Denver had a very interesting offseason. If you ask me, they had a very poor offseason, especially considering the fact that teams around them had very good offseasons. Denver went from a team that was pretty much a consensus pick to come out of the West at the very least last year to a team that to me is probably at best the fourth best team in its own conference. And reasons for this are not only teams around them having good offseasons and getting better, especially teams that were already good, teams that were already competitive to Denver, but also Denver's poor offseason that included trading away their sixth man in Reggie Jackson to Charlotte and losing a key starter in KCP, a key piece of the championship. So they've now lost key championship pieces in back-to-back years. They lost Bruce Brown coming off the championship, and then this year they lost KCP on top of losing Reggie Jackson, their sixth man. And they lost KCP for nothing in free agency. Man, oh man, if you're a Denver fan, bro, those moves I'm not a fan of. But Denver not only lost those two players, they also lost 6 second-round picks this offseason. They traded 3 to Charlotte to dump that Reggie Jackson contract, and they traded 3 to move up 6 spots in the second round of the NBA draft. And I don't remember who they got, but I think it was a guy that they really liked, and I think it was even a guy that I'm pretty sure I liked. I can't think of his name right now. Dang, I can't think of his name right now, but I actually like the pick. I just don't like having to trade 3 second-round picks to get that pick. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a good pick, but it's like, I don't know. I mean, if he ends up being really productive, then it's not a bad thing because it's hard to find a really productive second round pick. So it's not like it's a bad thing in the there's something in my mouth, bro. I couldn't focus. It's not like it's a bad thing to lose those 3 second round picks if that guy ends up being what you think he can be. Day'Ron Holmes, that's his name, Day'Ron Holmes. I get it, you know what I'm saying? Holmes is expected to be a pretty good guy. He's expected to be a guy that's not going to take super long to be good, and I feel that. And if the production from him is there, I'm not mad about losing the 3 second round picks to get him. And Denver also added Russell Westbrook, who should give them at the very minimum, a spark off the bench. So it's like they did lose their 6th man, but then they got another bench piece that's going to help them. That's going to be like a 6th man to them. So it's not like a terrible thing. And also they have young guys that are going to come off the bench and that are going to get better. So that's not a terrible thing either. But it's just like, if you ask me, to Denver's standards when coming off of that 2023 championship, for them to have this offseason and even last offseason where I feel like they got a little worse, but this offseason in particular, I would say it was pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. I would say it was definitely a pretty bad offseason. Where there was teams that had pretty bad offseasons, right? We saw what Golden State didn't do a damn thing. LA barely did a damn thing. Well, really for LA, they just drafted. They didn't do a damn thing other than that. But then we saw teams like Milwaukee, whose offseason started off pretty poorly, but then they ended up doing the best they could for considering the fact that they're a second apron team. Same with the Warriors. They ended up losing Klay Thompson because they were about to be a second apron team and everything like that. So it's like they couldn't give him what they wanted. And I feel you, like the Nuggets are an expensive team. They're a team that Murray's on a big contract, Jokic is on a big contract, and PJ's on a big contract. I feel all that. But I don't know. I still wasn't a fan of the offseason. But with all that said, the Nuggets still have a guy who is pretty much, from everything that I've seen and from all the people I've talked to, he's pretty much the consensus best player in the world. You know who it is, 3-time MVP Nikola Jokic. And they still have arguably the top duo. I know that the duo of the Jays just won a championship in Boston. I know that there's other duos in the league. But arguably the top duo in the league still with Murray and Jokic, right? So that's always a good thing. That's always something that's going to help carry you, is when you have not only the best player in the world, but then you have a good running mate with him and you have solid pieces in the starting lineup around him. That's going to be really big. So that's why the Nuggets, it's not like they're a terrible team or anything. It's not like they got so much worse that I'm thinking, ooh, they went from being consensus pick to come out the West to not even being a contender at all. It's not like they got that bad. It's not even that they really got that much worse, which they did get worse, but it's more that the teams around them also got better at the same time. It's like the combination of the two, you know what I'm saying? The combination, it's not great. They still have the defense of Aaron Gordon. They still have the scoring of MPJ sometimes, and he's on an interesting contract himself, but we're not going to say too much because he went to Mizzou. That's the homie. I don't know him, but he went to Mizzou. I was just up at Mizzou this weekend, so I ain't mad at it. They still have the youth of Christian Brown. They still have the youth of Peyton Watson, but to me, the Nuggets did get noticeably worse this offseason, like I said. But when you have a guy like Jokic, who's a guy that can carry a team pretty far in the playoffs, now you're looking at me, you're thinking, well, outside of the championship run, he was losing in the first round every year. Yeah, Murray and MPJ didn't play, so like yeah, he did lose in the first round to Golden State in 2022, blah blah blah, whatever. Murray and MPJ didn't play. His second and third or second and fourth best players didn't play. I don't know what you would want him to do. But so he's a guy that I believe can carry a playoff team pretty far, especially if his key guys are healthy. Like he's one of those guys. He is obviously the key piece. He's not going to be a guy like LeBron where he's going to take that 2018 team to the finals or anything like that. I don't think, or at least I haven't seen that. But he is a guy with this starting cast, with this lineup around him. He can carry a team. He can not carry because that's disrespectful to the guys around him, but he can and has proven to be a centerpiece for a team that can go very far and even win a championship. He's proven that, right? So I would say that the realistic best case for Denver, who has the best player in the world, with a coach that he trusts, a running mate that he trusts, some great fans, a great arena, a great starting lineup, is the can I speak? Like, am I having a stroke? The best case scenario for them, absolute best case this year, but still being realistic, is making it to the top. Winning the NBA Finals. It's simply that. I know we've talked about the Lakers where I said for them the absolute best case is winning or is making it to the Western Conference Finals. I think it is more likely that Denver wins a championship than LA makes it to the Western Conference Finals as currently assembled. Now, what they do come trade deadline, we'll see. But as currently assembled, I think it is far more likely that Denver wins the championship, which I don't think is like super likely, but I think it is far more likely than LA making it to the Western Conference Finals. Now, both I think are realistic best case scenarios. Like I think if you talk to somebody and they say, "Oh, there's 0% chance Denver wins the finals," or "There's 0% chance the Lakers make it to the Western Conference Finals," I think they're hating a little bit. I think they might not know ball too much because it's like when you don't know, when there's so many unknowns with things like injuries, when there's so many unknowns with things like, oh, these teams look good on paper. OKC looks good on paper, but will they actually get better? Hey, I'm an idiot. Dallas looks good on paper, but hey, who are they going to defend those top three guys? Who are they really defending in the backcourt? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like these guys look like they got better on paper, but we don't know how they're actually going to play together. We don't know if Klay Thompson's going to have another noticeable regression. We don't know if Isaiah Hartenstein's really going to be what OKC needs. We don't know if OKC has what it takes to really get to that point like we think they do when we see the talent. We don't know if Minnesota got better. We think they did, especially with the draft picks they had, but we don't know. What's going on with Cat? He sometimes doesn't show up. Is Anthony Edwards getting better? We expect that, but we don't know for sure. So I think with all of those things in the West, and then in the East, it's like, yeah, we think the Paul George thing to Philly is going to work, but like Joel Embiid's never been to a conference finals. I'm not saying just because they get Paul George, they're going to win a championship. I'm not saying that. Hey, New York, you guys did good last year, made it to the second round, but you still had a lot of injuries last year. Tom Thibodeau's known to be a guy that's going to play you all 48 minutes. What if you get injuries again this year? Was that year from Jalen Brunson, can he replicate it? I don't know. I'm sure he can. I believe he can, but you know what I'm saying? We don't know for sure. Milwaukee, will you be what we think you can be? We don't know for sure. You weren't that last year, so we don't know for sure. And I don't trust Doc Rivers, so it's like with all of the uncertainty with other contending / just big name teams in the NBA right now, if you say a team as good as Denver with the best player in the world on it has no chance or a tiny chance of winning the NBA Finals, I think you're insane. Which for me is why I'm saying realistic best case scenario. Like by realistic, I mean like if it happened, I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm not picking it to happen. That's what I mean by realistic. So that's what I think it is for Denver this year. We have to remember, Denver was a 20-point blown lead at home in a Game 7 from being in the Western Conference Finals for back-to-back years last year. So we're not just about to pretend that this team just fell off the face of the earth and last year was like some huge step back. Like they were literally one of the worst chokes of recent Game 7 history from being back in the conference finals again. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's not act like this team just, they lost in the first round, got swept like KD and them did. No, like they didn't come off a championship and didn't make the playoffs. They didn't come off a championship, get swept. That didn't happen. And we know that guys like Shea and Ant are on the come up, like I said, but they haven't proven that they can take their team to the finals yet. Sure, both squads got better on paper this offseason, but I don't think anybody would be able to say, I don't think there's anyone in the West, anyone in the league that would be able to say matching up against Jokic in the conference finals or in the finals is something they would look forward to, is something they would want. Like, no, you don't want that. Sure, Anthony Edwards is a dog, don't get me wrong. I'm sure he would not back down from the challenge, but I'm sure he would rather not have to deal with that again. You know what I'm saying? Like, it took him they went up 2-0 and damn near lost. Like I said, they were down 20 in a Game 7 on the road. Like, you know what I'm saying? Almost blew that 2-0 series lead. You don't want to see Denver. Like, sure, now, what I think the best case scenario is that the NBA gets Denver out in the first or second round. If you're in the West and Denver gets out in the first or second round, that's the best case scenario, because once you let them get to that conference finals, or if you let them get to that finals, the momentum they're going to have, I don't think you're going to be able to stop them, to be real. Like, you'd have to be a team like maybe Boston to be able to stop them once they have that momentum going, if they're rolling going into the conference finals. Like, don't let them boys be 8-1 or 8-2 going into the conference finals. Don't let them boys be 12-2, 12-3 going into the finals. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a scary sight now. That is a very, 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 very scary sight. And Denver we got to remember, Denver's still a very good team. Lot of very good championship experienced players, championship head coach. It's very realistic to say that the Denvers might just be able to ring number 2 this year, which, like, again, I'm saying, would be the best possible realistic scenario for this team. Now, obviously, that's the best possible scenario for any team, but this is a team that could realistically actually get there. You know what I'm saying? It's like, for other teams, yeah, that's the best case scenario, but how realistic is it? For 95% of the teams in the league, not realistic at all. And let me just make myself clear again, I don't see Denver winning the finals, and I don't see them really making it to the finals. But if you wanted to tell me, yeah, there's like a 20-25% chance, I'm not mad at you at all. I don't disagree, especially if they have easier matchups, or they beat some good teams in the first or second round with some decent ease without going into a game 7. That's some momentum that they've got, and especially if they're able to get like the 1 seed again, like they didn't get it last year, but if they're able to get like a 1 seed, 2 seed again, where they have home court until the conference final, something like that, you don't really want to play in Ball Arena over there. Like, nobody's really trying to match up with them. And I don't know, like, when a team has the best player in the league, it's never out of the question to say that team has a realistic chance to win the NBA Finals, especially when that best player in the world also has teammates that he's been around for a long time, teammates that we think are talented, teammates that we have seen work with him for a long period of time. Once you got that guy in that situation and you know that he is the best player in the world to 90% of NBA fans, it's never unrealistic to say, hey, that guy could win the finals. My argument here is simple as that. Love y'all, appreciate y'all. Tomorrow we'll have the Knicks, I think. Tomorrow it'll be the Knicks. And then, yeah.